Listen guys, a real man never speaks ill of
Badassatron.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
Now did I laugh at every single joke? No, because I'm not what you'd call an average consumer. But the dude is funny.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just look at his face. Why is he pulling that face? Since the return of Bumblebee's trademark in 2007, B was forced to remain mute. Except in Transformers Animated.
It will require using Bumblebee's greatest strength.
What, my stingers? My turbo speed?
Your obnoxious personality.
Now why did they keep B mute in the live action movies?
Permission to speak, sir. Permission granted.
Yeah, you know you're...
Because they thought it would be cute to make the average consumer, like my mum, chuckle. Is it cute though? You'll let me know in the comments. Throughout the 2010s, fans would complain about B being a mute. But when you look at it, only a few continuities did this. He was mute in the Fall of Cybertron game because that was suddenly connected to the Optimus Prime cartoon, where his voice was ripped out by Megatron, to which he eventually got it back by actually getting shot by Megatron, where he fell into a pool of cyber matter which repaired it, allowing him to stab Megatron with a surprise attack.
Prepare to join your scout in the All-Spark.
Gotcha, bitch!
Instant karma right there, dude. Despite only getting it last episode, you get a full series of it in the sequel series, Robots in Disguise.
Okay, team, gas it up and blow it out.
Okay, I want the beeps back.
Oh, for Primus' sake.
Will someone keep him occupied?
But slowly, over time, B has been getting his voice back, like in Cyberverse, in Earthspark, and now in the new animated movie, Transformers 1.
I told you it wasn't tight enough. Woo!
Before we begin, yes, I'm going to be talking about spoilers. It's mostly talking about his jokes, but I will be talking about what I'd like to see of him in the sequel. Now in this movie, Bumblebee is voiced by Keegan-Michael Key.
Problems for our democracy.
And that's why we're running for a third term!
No, we're not.
We're not?
No.
Who the hell said that?
Now I said in my review the one thing I wish they didn't overdo was B's jokes. So why am I making a video defending the guy? I just think the hate he's received has been a little too strong. I can agree to disagree in a lot of points people have made. Does he sometimes take you out of the serious moments? To me, I don't think he does. And he's not the only one making you laugh. Other characters have their jokes as well. But out of all of them, B is likely going to be the one to make your kid laugh. Your mom or your sister or whatever. Because the other jokes that other characters make are like innuendo jokes that probably only you'd get, like references to other Transformers media. Bumblebee just simply serves to make the other person chuckle.
This is the greatest day of my life. I get to work for the government.
And the dude was making people laugh. I remember in my early screening, a lot of people were laughing at his jokes.
Four best friends who are walking through the door. There's no doors, we're outside. Hey, look.
I may not be going ha ha crying with laughter where my stomach hurts. Most of the time it was more like sigh laughter. You know what I mean? Like even though it's like, oh god, this joke again, stop. There's still a little bit of laughter in that sigh. But looking back, all of these jokes serve a lot of purpose to the character, and it actually makes him sort of a tragic character as well. We see Orion and D meet B in the lowest sector of the mines, so B's just basically been banished to the lowest level where they didn't even think the level existed. Was it like level 50 or something? His purpose is just to salvage parts that could be useful before it goes into the furnace. So of course when he meets bots that are real, he's more than excited to introduce himself.
I'm actually working on some nicknames. The one I'm floating right now is Badassatron, which is actually pronounced Badassatron.
We're gonna call you B.
Now why was B put down here? We don't know. He probably pissed off Darkwing. Regardless, to help the pain of being alone, he creates fake bots from the salvaged parts that have been falling down. Now that for sure is a symptom of a mental disorder, like an example of an hallucination. Or even some form of psychosis where he's lost contact with reality. He doesn't know what's real and what's not. He sees and hears things that the other characters can't, and this is why D16 gets disturbed by him. Or even you, probably. But to the rest of the audience, we're supposed to have empathy for this dude. You know, he's so lonely, he's so miserable, but he doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to accept the sad reality that he's in. So to compensate, he's had to make fake robots. And because he's been talking to himself for the longest time, it kind of makes sense why he can't shut up. Now, I wouldn't say he outright ruins serious moments. The character does know when to be quiet when the scene gets serious, like when they find out about Sentinel Prime's betrayal. He's as shocked as the rest of the bots. Well, okay, maybe not as shocked as D16, but you get what I mean. And much like how the bots are excited to be able to transform for the first time, so is B, and he's going to have more fun with it. And because he's been lonely for so long, I think it kind of makes sense why he's the first bot to be able to almost transform to the fullest, because he's just desperate for a change. He wants to transform his world as fast as possible. And I really don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that B uses comedy as a defense mechanism. Dude tries his best to be so overly positive, yeah, because the world that he's living in is a hellhole. Just imagine if he broke character. But there is that part about him that is still afraid, which is why when D16 stands up to Sentinel, B just wants him to stand down. He's trying to protect him. He's just made a new friend and he doesn't want him to die. Because to B, Alida, Orion and D are his first ever real friends. So to see one get viciously attacked, yeah, it's not surprising that he wants him to stay down. And because I felt so sorry for this character, it was rewarding finally seeing him get his battle mask and his knife hands and destroying the control room for no reason at all.
B, these are not the bad guys.
Why did you cut the door?
What? No.
This was a joke I thought wasn't going to pay off when I actually watched the film, because I'd already seen it in the trailers, and I barely laughed at that. But when I actually saw it in full context, I laughed. I liked it, because, oh, I get why the character's like this.
Oh, thank you.
A joke that I absolutely hated, but I've come to accept it, is of course the Badassatron bit.
You like that, right?
I'm gonna need you to talk less.
Why would he call himself Badassatron? I don't know. Do Earth words make their way into Cybertronian text? I don't know. But regardless, the film is serious. There's no denying that. It has a serious story and a serious tone. But we don't want it all doom and gloom. It's a film where you take your kids to learn a lesson of betrayal and also just to have a good time. It's a movie about little robots becoming bigger robots and taking down the government. I don't think B saying Badassatron is going to ruin it. B is just a good catalyst to get the general audience laughing. And also maybe even you, doesn't matter how old you are. And some of his jokes are actually really witty and really well timed. You know, most people will just remember him for the Badassatron bit. But this guy is a whole mood.
I have knife hands!
I can see that.
I'm gonna cut these guys, watch! Come here!
You can jab them later. Gotta go.
His character arc in the movie feels somewhat complete. I mean, he finally gets what he wanted. He works for the government. But hey, you know what I think they're gonna do in the sequel? I think they're gonna rip that voice box straight out of Cybertron. Okay, just hear me out. Why would we get rid of B's voice box to then immediately rip it out in the sequel? Well, not immediately in the sequel, but to build up the moment where Megatron rips it out. And that will be the moment that Optimus Prime sees that there is nothing redeemable about Megatron. See, if they were to make a sequel, I think that sequel will be about Optimus Prime trying his best to save his friend Megatron from, you know, becoming progressively worse, like, I don't know, the High Moon Studios Megatron, to stop him from going completely insane. But the one thing that will make Optimus realize that there's just no reasoning with Megatron anymore, like in the Transformers Prime cartoon, Megatron just rips out B's voice box. Just think about how tragic that would be for this incarnation of a character who loves to talk non-stop to make people laugh or smile or whatever, and it gets robbed by his former friend. I mean, we saw Shockwave try his best to take B, but he didn't rip it out. But maybe, just maybe, Megatron in one certain scene will have enough of B talking and he'll just rip it out, just out of spite to Optimus Prime, or just because he wants to do it. The sequel potential is strong. I think the film will be about the war for Cybertron, probably a little mix of the Quintessons thrown in it, but I think if they want a big moment like when Megatron ripped Sentinel Prime in half, if they want another moment like that shocks audiences, I think B getting his voice ripped out is probably the best thing to compete with that. But what do I know? I've never written for a movie and a TV show, so whether or not that's probably the best direction, I don't know. I do like writing Transformers fiction, so in my mind, that's how I would do it. But I'm only doing it for story purposes, okay? I'm doing it to make you cry. Maybe they'll do it in the second one, maybe they'll do it in the third one. Regardless, I think it's going to happen at some point. But I don't think it's going to stick. Like I said, I think a story arc of B losing his voice and then gaining it again is probably the safest way to do it, because I know audiences are probably sick of B not being able to talk. And another factor to this is that if Keegan-Michael Key reprises his role of Bumblebee, they're going to be paying him a lot of money, so I doubt they're going to want to keep him mute for long. So yeah, I think the hate for Bumblebee is a little bit too strong, but I can understand it. I can understand why some people may be somewhat taken aback by his over-energetic humour. But if you look at the character in a study form, like see where he started out and how he progressed throughout the film, there's some sort of acceptance to it. I think B-127 in Transformers 1 is just about accepting him for who he is. He's a little schizophrenic little guy, and I think he's just getting a bit bullied a bit too much. Anyway, I'm done talking. I need to shut up like Bumblebee. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. I'll be doing more character essays on Transformers 1 characters, so expect that. So yeah, until the next video, I've been Comodin Cam, and goodbye.